For those of you who don't know me, my name is Karen Chase. Good evening and thank you all for coming. It's been my pleasure to work with these fabulous students all year. You know, parents, they've been working since October on their folk tales and fairy tales. They chose the stories themselves. I did not choose the stories for them. This is our 7th year here at Gray's, and it's a total of 17 years that I've been teaching in the system storytelling. And I'm always excited to see familiar faces return. I've had some of these students for 3 years, some for 2, and this year we have some brand new students for the first time. And it's just wonderful to watch them support and encourage each other. They laugh together, they work together, and through it all they find their own original voice. From the shyest teller who pushes themselves to rise to the occasion, to the excitable student who works hard to rein it in a little bit, each one does their best to serve the story and the audience. One of the things I always tell the students once they have selected a story is to make it their own. I don't want them memorizing the tale. I want them to be comfortable with it, to switch it up if they need to ad-lib. And it's always interesting to see what happens tonight because sometimes they pull things out of their hat I've never heard before. It is always wonderful. A good storyteller takes the stories from the past and reworks them, bringing them to life for the new generation. And whether a story has a moral to it, like Aesop's, or a junk tale to make you shiver, a noodlehead story to tickle your funny bone, each student polishes their story until they make it shine. Now, this evening would not be possible without the incredible support of our principal, Dr. Elizabeth Sullivan, Diane Zapiga, who is right over there. Give a wave, Diane. She likes to stay in the background. She is the director of the program here, the Community Rec program. My partner in crime. I couldn't do this without her. And of course, the Massachusetts Cultural Council, that is a wonderful supporter of this program. And the teachers here at Gray's, they allow their students to come during the school day and listen to the performances. So they get 5 practice performances before tonight. And it's a really great help for them to settle into the space, see how their stories fly. So I can't thank them enough. And of course, our wonderful maintenance staff who quietly works behind the scenes and makes sure all of this is done. And of course, all of you who have come to support the children tonight. Now, I'm going to ask for Jackson to come up here, please. At the beginning of each class, I ask one. Oh yeah, good. Give him a round of applause. Wonderful. At the beginning of each class, I ask one storyteller, or sometimes 2, to come up and recite our Storyteller's Pledge. They say the pledge themselves, and then at the end, they all join in for the final line. And so I thought it'd be a fitting way to do this tonight, and Jackson has agreed to do this for me. So, Jackson.
As a storyteller and a story listener, I give myself permission to have fun, laugh, take risks, make mistakes, tell stories. I know stories connect us, and I am connected to stories. Let the stories begin!
Wonderful job. Now, I just sprung that on him a few minutes ago, so look at that poise that young man has. Just amazing to me, always amazing. Okay, we have our storytellers waiting in the wings, and so as the boys and girls said, let the stories begin. Opening up our festival tonight are 2 wonderful young ladies. Claire has been part of the storytelling trip for 3 years, starting out at Assawamsett, and Ava for 2. She took a little break and did chorus last year, but every time I saw her in school, she'd say, I'm coming back next year, I'm coming back, and I'm so glad she did. These young ladies are thick as thieves, and they strive to do their best with their story, but they never forget to have fun in the process. It has been my great pleasure to work with them. Please welcome Ava Richmond and Claire Lucy as they share a folktale from the Philippines.
Hi, my name is Ava Richmond.
And my name is Claire Lucy.
And we'll be telling the story of the king brought down by one blow. One day in the Philippines, there lived a powerful king. Unfortunately, he was also quite foolish. So one day he announced,
It is now against the law for people to make this much noise, else they'll be thrown in jail.
So the people went around whispering to each other, but even this didn't satisfy the king, because now the animals sounded too loud. So he said,
It is now against the law for the animals to make this much noise.
as you might imagine, this didn't go very well. One of the king's officers heard Frog croaking too loudly and brought him to appear before the king immediately. The king began the trial by asking,
Don't you know there's a law about animals making this much noise?
Frog replied,
Yes, Your Majesty, but I couldn't mind laughing when I saw that Snail carries his house on his back wherever he goes.
So Snail was called for immediately. The king began the trial and asked,
Why do you always carry your house wherever you go?
I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but if I don't carry it with me, I'm afraid that Firefly will light it on fire. So the king called for Firefly. He asked,
Why do you always carry fire with you? Don't you know it frightens other animals?
Your Majesty, I'm sorry, but I can't help but carry it. If I don't, I'm afraid mosquito will bite me. I knew I should have stayed in my own country. Weren't any mosquitoes there? So the king called for a mosquito at last. He began the trial by asking,
Why do you always try to bite people? Don't you know what a pest you are?
Mosquito replied, Of course, Your Majesty, but I have, in order to live, I have to bite. The king was now tired of the trial. He decided to put an end to it.
I forbid you to bite anyone from now on. From now on, it is against the law for mosquitoes to bite.
Mosquito tried to protest.
But Your Majesty, that's impossible.
By now the king was tired of this. He picked up a large stick to crush Mosquito.
Seeing this, Mosquito flew right up to the king's nose. The king whacked Mosquito with his stick. That was the end of poor Mosquito, but at the same time the king knocked himself out and fell to the ground.
There's no way to be sure whether or not that blow knocked any sense into the foolish king. But one thing is for sure. There are still plenty of mosquitoes biting people to this day.
What a wonderful way to open up our night. Thank you, ladies. Now, Ava, I didn't know she had a British accent. She just brought that to class one day. So thank you, Ava. You never know what they're going to do. I love it. Love it. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Ava. Really nice job. Tandem telling, they think it's easier, but it's actually harder. So tandem teams really work a lot. Our next storyteller has been with me for 2 years. He is so comfortable now with his role as a storyteller. He even volunteered to be the very first one to practice his story in front of class. A mature young man, it has been wonderful to watch him make great strides in his storytelling skills. Please welcome Reese Bethany sharing a folktale from India.
Hi, my name is Reese Bethany, and I'm going to be telling you the story Thief and Master Thief, a story from India. Once there were 2 thieves. One was named Sanjay. He was on the lower class. He wasn't that much of a high thief. Then there was Master Thief. He was the greatest. He could do anything. He could rob anybody. So Sanjay, after a while, he started to get mad, really mad, because he wanted to be accepted in the group for once. So then he got the brilliant idea that what if I tried to rob Master Thief? So that's what he tried doing. One night, after robbing houses, Master Thief came home with bulging pockets. Sanjay didn't come back with anything. He didn't have the courage to rob any houses. So Sanjay said, why don't we go to a hostel? It's way better there, and it's way too late to drive all the way home. So that's what they did. Master Thief was so tired, he flopped down onto the bed and fell asleep immediately. Then Sanjay put his plan into action. He checked in the closet, he checked in the safe, he pulled off Master Thief's covers really carefully and checked his pockets. It was nowhere. He went to bed very frustrated. The next day, they did it all over again. Master Thief came back with bulging pockets, and Sanjay came back with nothing. So, Sanjay knew that he couldn't push this trip any longer. So then he said, I'm so tired. Why don't we just go back to that hostel? It was really good. So they went back. This time, Sanjay checked everywhere. He checked in the boats outside. He checked everywhere he checked before. He checked in the walls. And he checked outside. He couldn't find it. He went to bed so frustrated. The next morning, he had to ask where Master Thief hid his money. Where do you think he hid his money? You can raise your hand. You in the back?
I didn't know you were actually
Okay. Can't be you guys.
Sanjay's pillow.
No. No more guesses? Okay. Master Thief smirked. I hid it under your bed.
Thank you, Reese. That was wonderful. He had him going around a lot more this time than he did in practice performances. I like that, Reese. Thank you. Nice job. Our next tandem team, both of them are brand new to storytelling. They are fourth graders, and I really hope they come back next year. They decided to team up and have done a remarkable job on this new challenge. I hope they do come back next year, and I know you will be delighted of their version of this folktale from Denmark. Please welcome Anil Barnick and Brooklyn Deshanes.
Hi, my name is Brooklyn Deshanes,
And my name is Emil Barnick.
and we'll be telling the story of the ugly duckling. It was a beautiful time in the country, springtime, when everything was lush and green. Deep in the forest, there was a mother duck, sitting on her nest of eggs, waiting for them to soon hatch.
Soon one egg began to crack,
Cheep, cheep.
said the first chick as she poked her head out. Then another hatched. Then the mother duckling noticed that the biggest egg hadn't hatched, so she asked herself, how much longer is this big egg going to take?
So she sat back down on the egg to keep it warm. Weeks passed until finally the egg began to crack. As he poked and pecked himself out of the egg, Mother Duck couldn't believe her eyes.
How big and ugly he is. He doesn't look like any of my other ducklings. The next day, the mother duck took her ducklings and the other ugly duckling down to the pond to take a swim. When they got to the other ducks, the other ducks saw the ugly duckling, and started to poke and peck the ugly duckling on the neck and head. Finally, the ugly duckling decided to move, though sadly he decided to move, and though sadly he couldn't go, there was nowhere he could go without being teased or tormented. So he went back to the lake. He went back to the pond, and it was winter at the pond. So he swam in circles until he became so tired that he couldn't swim anymore.
A kind farmer passed by and chipped away the ice and took the ugly duckling to home to nurse him back to health.
When the farmer's wife saw how ugly the ugly duckling was, she chased him out the door. The ugly duckling once again went to the pond. It was spring in the pond. At the pond, it was spring at the pond, and the ugly duckling
saw a flock of beautiful white birds circling above and landed gracefully on the water. The ugly duckling started to swim toward them, and he looked into the water. He saw that he wasn't an ugly gray duck anymore. He was a beautiful white swan. The swans started to swim towards him, and the ugly duckling, now a beautiful white swan, said to himself,
I never dreamed of such happiness when I was an ugly duckling.
Well, Brooklyn was really happy for that duck. Thank you, Brooklyn. Nicely done. No, you did a good job. And Neil, you did wonderful. Brooklyn, you have tried really hard this year. I'm very proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. Our next storyteller has been with me for 3 years and gone from a student who giggled, kind of like Brooklyn, giggled the first time he tried to tell his story to someone now who knows exactly what he wants to do. Tonight he shares a thoughtful tale from Puerto Rico. Please welcome Braden Burrell.
Hello, my name is Braden Burrell, and today I'm telling the story Fernando and his neighbor. Once upon a time, there were 2 Puerto Rican men. One was called Fernando. He had a loving heart and was a simple man. On the other hand, Santiago was very different. He had furious temper and little patience. One day, Fernando was picking figs, and he found that they were beautiful. Fernando called to his wife. His wife looked at them. She thought they were fit for a king. Fernando got a great idea, so Fernando picked them up and walked to the castle with the basket in hand. He gave it to the king. The king saw this gift and thought Fernando was a generous man, and a generous man is a good man, and a good man should be rewarded. So he filled the basket with gold and gave it back to Fernando. Fernando couldn't speak. He didn't know he would get this for it. So he walked back to the town and told all the townspeople. The townspeople partied and cheered, all except Santiago, who wanted some of that gold for himself. So Santiago picked up some figs and just put them in. And he walked to the castle. He kept knocking on the door saying, "Let me in," to the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper wouldn't let him in. But all this knocking woke up the king and yelling. The king saw through Santiago and saw this was not a generous gift at all. And so he told the gatekeeper to throw him out. So he threw him out along with the figs. If Santiago wasn't so greedy, he wouldn't even need the gold.
Braden, what a nice job. Thank you so much. Braden is a second generation teller. His sister was with me years ago. Yeah, so nice that he's with us this year. Thank you, Braden. He's come a long, long way. Okay, let's see. Our next storyteller, Xavier, has been with me for 3 years as well, starting out at Assawamsett. He's the type of student who knows what he wants to do and tackles it head on. As I said last year, sometimes I think he's not listening, and then all of a sudden he just pulls a rabbit out of his hat. Really? I didn't think you were listening. He's always listening. It's been wonderful to have him as part of the storytelling troupe. Please welcome Xavier Estrada, sharing a humorous noodlehead story from Iceland.
Hi, my name is Xavier Estrada, and today I'll be telling you the story of I'd Laugh Too If I Weren't Dead. Once upon a time, there were two women, Mary and Lily, who couldn't agree on whose husband was the biggest fool. So they did what any normal human would do, and so they made a bed. When Mary got home, she immediately cooked up her plan. When her husband got home, he saw her measuring and sewing on her sewing table. But there's something weird. So he waited for a few moments before he finally said, "What are you doing?" Mary said, "I'm making a new suit for you. Can't you see? There's no material on the table, though." "Of course you can't see it. It's the very finest material." Mwah. It's the very finest material, so then she ironed it out and then finally said, "It's ready." So then she helped him try it on and said, "You look beautiful," even though he was standing there in his underwear. While all this was going on, Lily was cooking up her plan. When her husband woke up, she said, You look horrible. Please stay in bed. Don't go to work." When he woke up the next morning, she gasped, "You look even worse," and began giving him all kinds of medicine until, for some reason, he actually began to feel sick. Then, next morning, he got out of bed, greeted her, had breakfast, and watched TV until a coffin arrived. "What's this?" he gasped. "It's a coffin. Can't you see you're dead?" Well, his wife is usually right. "Now get in there." So they brought the casket that had tiny holes so he could breathe in a small window so he could see to the church. Then all the sad mourners arrived, even Mary and her husband wearing his new suit. When the mourners saw this, they began to roar with laughter. The laughter was so loud that even Lily's husband had to see what's going on. So he threw open the coffin, sat up straight, and saw this idiotic sight. Then he said, "I'd laugh too if I weren't dead." When they heard this, they began to laugh as loud as an elephant. So after all this happened, Mary and Lily met up and they agreed that both of their husbands were the biggest noodlehead.
In 17 years, no one has ever told a story from Iceland or ever told that story, and I've just been waiting for someone to pick it. Thank you so much, Xavier. Great job. Now, closing out just the first half of our festival, we'll have intermission after this. It's a very funny tandem team comprised of a brand new storyteller, a fourth grader, and a fifth grade storyteller who's been with me for 3 years. This is Alex's first year with the troupe, but it was evident from the beginning that he was a natural storyteller. He fully commits to the story. Zachariah is with me for his third year, as I said, and I have watched him grow from a rather quiet young man to someone who takes the stage with confidence and pride. You never know what will happen when these two young men get together. Please welcome Alex Goldsmith and Zachariah Menendez sharing a folktale from the United States.
I'm Zach Menendez.
And I'm Alex Goldsmith, and we'll be telling the story of the ghost with the bloody fingers. There once was a woman who sat in a comfy chair in her living room, reading a good book. From off in the distance, she heard a voice wailing.
I am the ghost with the bloody fingers rising from my grave.
The woman got so scared that her hair went up like a porcupine's quills. A little while later, she heard,
I am the ghost with the bloody fingers walking down the road.
The woman's eyes got so big that her eyebrows almost reached the top of her head. Then the voice was louder.
I am the ghost with the bloody fingers opening the gate. Creak!
An eerie shiver went down the woman's spine.
I am the ghost with the bloody fingers walking up your path.
A creepy chill went down to her toes.
I am the ghost with the bloody fingers knocking at your door. Bam! Bam! Bam!
The woman's heart went ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom.
I am the ghost with the bloody fingers floating through your door.
An icy chill filled the room as the ghost drifted over toward her and cried,
I am the ghost with the bloody fingers looking you in the eye.
The woman managed to ask, What do you want?
I want a few band-aids, please.
I have to tell you, all those gestures are all theirs. They came up with all of that, the ba-boom, ba-boom, everything. Just a wonderful job, gentlemen. We had one of the practice performances we had, a couple of the children were sick, so we needed to fill in a little bit, and they were like, yes, let us go again. And so they performed twice that day. They did a wonderful job. As I said, we're going to have a brief intermission, about 10, 15 minutes. Storytellers, I'm going to ask you to walk like ladies and gentlemen to the back of the room, okay? Thank you, thank you. Once they're up there, they get two things too. That everybody else is more than welcome to go and help themselves. And as I said, I'll let you know when it's time to come back for a group photo and then the second half of the festival. Thank you. Okay, well, welcome back. Gentlemen, storytellers, please have a seat. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, because part of our program is not only about learning about folktales and fairy tales, and in the process, learning about public speaking. It's a sneaky way to get them to learn how to speak in front of an audience. But it's also about supporting each other. Isn't that correct? You all support each other, you praise each other. I teach them how to peer coach each other when they're learning their stories, and they're kind to each other. So that's, well, of course, I'm a professional storyteller and I love storytelling. My favorite thing is to see the bonds that form throughout this process. So I'm going to ask you all who have already told, because now you're not in hyper mode, I want you to be aware that other people need your respect and your listening ears, because we couldn't tell stories without an audience, correct? Okay, so starting us out for our second half, two storytellers who have been with me, one for 3 years and one for 2 years. Colton started out at Assawamsett and Cameron started out here. Both students are truly superb young men. They are always eager to listen and to help. They're probably, one of the first ones in class to ask if I need any help with anything. They choose to work together this year, and I know you will agree it's a terrific collaboration. Please welcome Colton Smith and Cameron Poirier sharing a folktale from Canada.
My name is Cameron Poirier. Hi, my name is Colton Smith. And my name is Cameron Poirier. And we'll be telling the story of Tilly. There once was a girl named Tilly who loved to scare herself, so one day she begged her parents to have her room in the attic because it was the scariest room in the house. One night while in bed, Tilly heard a strange voice say, "Tilly, I'm coming to get you." Chills went up and down her spine, but Tilly loved it. Creak! "Tilly, I'm on the top step." Tilly was excited. She had never had a real-life scary thing happen to her before.
Pull me up, Daddy.
The next night, Tilly heard the voice even closer now, at her door. "Tilly, I'm at your bed." The next day, Tilly told her parents about the strange voice, but her parents just said anyone who has a room in the attic has to expect to hear some kind of noises. A few nights later, Tilly heard the ghost by her bed. "Tilly, I'm at your bed." Tilly wanted to scream, but nothing came out. And then, "Tilly, Tilly, I got you!"
Okay, show of hands, who jumped? And I've heard this story numerous times and I still jump. Gentlemen, what a way to start us off. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Well, our next storyteller is a little powerhouse. She's always full of energy and suggestions. I was just telling her mother I want this much of her energy. Ronan chose a cumulative folktale to tell, one of the most challenging types of stories to share. She has worked incredibly hard to fine-tune her storytelling skills, and I know you will agree she has a wonderful stage presence. But before I bring her out, I'm going to ask the gentlemen to put their water bottles down because I'm hearing click, 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 click. Thank you very much. And we don't want to distract her. Please welcome Ronan Ramsey sharing a folktale from England.
Hi, my name is Ronan Ramsey, and I will be telling a story from England. Next time, I'll know what to do. Jack and his mother lived in a small hut in a big village. They were quite poor, but because Jack's mother worked so hard, they managed to get by. One day, Jack's mother got fed up with Jack's laziness and told him to get a job. She ambushed him when he was walking down the stairs for breakfast. After he finished his food, he decided to go out and find one. And he did. He had to work in the fields of a farmer. At the end of the day, he received 1 gold coin as payment. He was so excited because he had never had any money before. He showed it to everyone he met. But as he was crossing the river to get to his house, the river fell out of his hands and slipped into the water below. "Oh no," Jack thought. "Now I don't have anything to bring." Jack's mother was very upset. "Oh, Jack," she groaned. "That's no way to carry money. You should have put it in your pocket, then you wouldn't have lost it." "Oh," said Jack. "Next time I'll know what to do." And so the next day, Jack worked for the farmer's wife churning butter. At the end of the day, he was rewarded with 2 slabs of butter.
He was very glad, and he decided to follow his mother's instructions, and he put the butter in his pocket. By the time he got home, he was a big greasy mess. "Oh, Jack," Jack's mother groaned when she saw her son covered in grease. "That's no way to carry butter. You should have wrapped it in wet leaves so it wouldn't melt and carried it carefully in your hands." "Oh," said Jack, "next time I'll know what to do." And so the next day, Jack worked with the baker and got rewarded with a big cat. He decided to follow his mother's instructions before and wrapped the cat in wet leaves. As you can imagine, this didn't go over very well with the cat, but Jack was too busy daydreaming of how happy his mother would be to notice that the cat had got one paw free. The cat gave Jack a good scratch and darted away. "Oh no," Jack thought. "Oh, Jack," Jack's mother said when Jack came home again with nothing. "It's no way to carry a cat. You should have tied a string around its neck and pulled it along behind you." "Oh," said Jack, "next time I'll know what to do." And so the next day, Jack worked for the butcher and got rewarded with a huge slab of meat. He decided to follow his mother's instructions again, and he tied a piece of string around the meat and pulled it along behind him. "Oh, Jack," groaned Jack's mother when she saw that her son had brought home a filthy piece of meat. "That's no way to carry meat. Now it's dirty and we can't eat it for dinner. You should have put it on your shoulder." "Oh," said Jack, "next time I'll know what to do." And so the next day, Jack got a great job. He got to work for the richest man in town. When he got to the rich man's house, the rich man told him his job. It was very smelly. He had to clean the rich man's donkey's stables. They hadn't been cleaned since the 80s. Then Jack knew what he had to do. He picked up his broom and started to clean. At the end of the day, the rich man was very impressed with Jack's handiwork and rewarded Jack with a donkey. Jack was a very strong boy, but he was a bit concerned with carrying a mule on his back. But he managed to do it and hoisted it up onto his shoulders. But as it was passing the rich man's door, which happened to be open, who was to see him but the rich man's daughter, who hadn't laughed in her entire life. And it just so happened that the rich man was giving a reward to whoever could make her laugh. Seeing Jack in this idiotic scene, the rich man's daughter burst into giggles and fell on the floor. The rich man was so impressed that he gave Jack 2 sacks of gold. Ka-ching. But there was a bit of a problem. How could Jack carry 2 sacks of gold and a donkey on his shoulders? He put the donkey down and thought for a minute. Then he got an idea. He tied the 2 sacks of gold together, put them on the donkey's back, and rode the donkey. Jack's mother was very surprised and very proud when she saw her son
Yep, it was Jack. She checked. She rubbed the lenses of her glasses. Riding home on a donkey with 2 sacks of gold. At first she thought it was just a mirage. The village was in Florida. And Jack was very pleased with himself. "How did you do that, Jack?" Jack's mother asked. Jack couldn't really answer that question, but he did learn something very important that day. Use your brain. Which he did most of the time because he could. And another lesson he learned that day, and from then on, Jack was able to use his brain, at least most of the time.
Oh, Ronan, you always surprise me. She did a great job. That line from, had been clean since the 80s and ka-ching, that's all her. I mean, she came up with all this stuff. She did such a wonderful job. Thank you, Ronan. Did you have fun? You had a good time with you, I can tell. You always have a good time with it. That's a very difficult story to tell, as you can probably imagine. It's one that I tell, and it's very hard because one thing depends on the other, and if you make a mistake, you're stuck. So bravo. Let's see, who do we have next? Oh my goodness, Jackson. Jackson has been with me for 2 years, and in that time, I have watched him grow from a shy young man to one who not only takes the stage with confidence, but steps right up to the microphone when I ask him to without another thought. He has a quiet but powerful presence. This year he has chosen a fun folktale from the United States, and he really makes it shine. Please welcome Jackson Silveria.
Hi, my name is Jackson Silveria, and I'll be telling the story of the big wide-mouthed frog, a story from the United States. Once there was a slimy green frog who drove everyone crazy. One day he decided to find out what everyone else ate for breakfast. So he hopped out of his frog pond and went to the zoo. First he met Giraffe. "Who are you? And what do you eat for breakfast?" he asked. "I'm the big wide-mouthed frog, and I eat flies for breakfast." "I'm Giraffe, of course, and I eat leaves for breakfast." Then he went to Otter. "Who are you? And what do you eat for breakfast?" "I'm the big wide-mouthed frog, and I eat flies for breakfast." "I am Otter, and I eat fish." Then he hopped over to Crocodile, which was in whatever moods. "Who are you? And what do you eat for breakfast?" But before he could finish, Crocodile said, "I'm Crocodile, and I just love to eat big, wide-mouthed frogs for breakfast." With that, the big wide-mouthed frog's mouth grew smaller, smaller, and smaller. Otter replied, "I've never heard of such a creature as a big wide-mouthed frog. I'll tell you if I've seen one." Then he hopped back to his frog pond as fast as he could. And from then on, he learned sometimes it's better to keep his big, wide mouth shut.
Thank you, Jackson. What a wonderful job. Our next storyteller is with us for our 3rd year as well. It has been so wonderful for me to watch her grow. She started out with me at Assawamsett, and she had a difficult time even stepping into the library. She was that reticent about being part of the storytelling troupe. That is long gone. She no longer has a difficult time. And this year, she even did a wonderful job helping me in class because we talk about stage fright. And I said, "Marissa, could you please tell the children how it was for you?" And she happily stood up said how she felt the first time and how she made her way through storytelling and found her confidence, so she helped alleviate their fears. Please welcome Marissa Kelly sharing a Pourquoi story from Puerto Rico.
Hi, it's Marissa Kelly, and today we're telling the story of how I got a story from Puerto Rico. In about the 1900s, used to say, they always have dancing and feasting of balls. One day the mayor decided to have a grand ball. There was about 2,000 birds, so he wanted to give a lot of invitations to all of them. The first owl he got to was Owl. He had no feathers, but he was really, really shy, so he decided to get his spirit out of himself. So he opened the door really slowly, and he saw Hawk like, phew, it's Hawk. So he opened the door, and he's like, and Hawk says, here's an invitation so you can go to the ball. He's like, don't give me that. I don't want that. I don't have no feathers. I'm hideous. So he flew as fast as he can to the mayor. Where is the invitation for Owl? I thought you gave it to him. Oh, he didn't want to come, so I just kept it. What? He needs to go. It's a ball. Wait a minute. I got an idea. How about we lay each feather so Owl can go to the ball so you won't look hideous. Don't tell Owl I said that. So he decided to get all of the feathers and send it to him. Knock, knock, he was there. He all of a sudden he opened the door really quick and saw the feathers laid out with the invitation. All those feathers for me? Here's the invitation for the ball. He tried them on. He thought he looked so handsome. He wanted a girlfriend so bad because he was single. He was so excited that he put it on so fast he forgot about the ball. So he flew as fast as he could to get to the ball. And it was about 3 hours for the ball, and suddenly he remembered he had to give the feathers back, because if he didn't give the feathers back, then all the birds would get really mad. So he flew as fast as he can back to his house, and that's why Owl's not seen in the morning. He's seen at night when all the birds are sleeping, and that's how Owl got his feathers.
That's a brand new version. Wow, thank you, Marissa. I mean, it's the story, but she did a lot of brand new stuff tonight. Thank you, Marissa, nicely done. We have another tandem team coming up right now. Rachel is a seasoned storyteller, another one who's been with me for 3 years from Assawamsett, and a first-year teller, another 5th grader, Samantha Lambert. Both are very sweet, quiet young ladies, and I was so delighted when they chose this funny folktale to share from Africa. They are always eager to participate in class and to ask for extra time to practice their stories, and it's been wonderful to watch them develop throughout this year. Please welcome Rachel Fernandez and Samantha Lambert sharing a folktale from Africa.
Hello, my name is Rachel Fernandez. And my name is Samantha Lambert. And we're telling the story of the Silly Farmer. There once was a silly farmer named Zahid who lived in Ethiopia. He found out his wife was going to have a baby, but she didn't know what kind it would be. Then said Zahid, I will go to the old woman who lives at the base of the mountains. She knows magic, both black and white. She can tell me. He took a gold piece he had hidden deep under his mattress and walked all morning until he reached the old witch's hut. Once he got there, he explained that his wife was going to have a baby, but she didn't know what kind it would be.
The old woman stared at him with dark eyes and nodded her head in agreement.
If you give me a satisfactory answer, I will pay you in this piece of gold.
The old woman opened a small wooden chest and removed 3 ancient bones. She tossed them on the floor and studied the pattern they made. She said.
Repeated Zahid.
Once again, she studied the pattern. She said.
Repeated Zahid. Your wife's child will either be a boy or a girl.
Thank you, said Zahid, and he ran home to tell his wife the good news.
Several months later, the wife had a beautiful baby girl.
Soon, it was time to baptize the girl, but Zahid and his wife couldn't think of a proper name for her.
I will ask the old woman. She can tell me what our daughter's name will be.
He took another gold piece from under his mattress and walked onward until he reached the old witch's hut.
Once he got there, he explained that his wife had a beautiful baby girl, and it was time to name her. They couldn't think of a proper name.
The old woman opened a small wooden chest and removed 3 ancient bones. She tossed them on the floor and studied the pattern. She said.
Repeated Zahid.
Once again, she studied the pattern. She said.
Repeated Zahid. I will whisper your child's name into your hands, and don't lose it on the way home.
Thank you, said Zahid, and he walked home. As he was walking home, he slipped on some loose hay and his hands came apart.
Several neighbors came running over to help him find it. Their friendly neighbor to their right came over and said, "What are you looking for?"
"I'm looking for my daughter's name. It was right here in my hands, but then I lost it."
"That's nonsense, simply nonsense."
"Oh, thank you. I thought I had lost it forever."
Once he got home, he explained that the witch had given him the name, but then he had lost it on their way home, and their friendly neighbor to the right helped them find it. Our daughter's name is Nonsense, simply nonsense, and I call her simply nonsense to this very day.
I'm not sure if they planned their outfits, but they look perfect up there together in their blue. Ladies, you did a wonderful job with that story. That's a fun tale. Closing out our festival tonight are 2 wonderful young ladies. They're going to finish our festival in style. They're 2 5th grade students. Jocelyn has been with me for 2 years. She's a quiet, lovely young lady who, when she began last year in her first year of storytelling, explained to me that she suffered from stage fright. But she continued to work and work and work on her story last year, and I was hoping that she would come back, and I was so delighted when I saw her name on the classroom roster. Now, Molly is with me for the first time. She is outgoing and cheerful, and both of them it seemed to be really close, at least in school, helping each other. And Molly took to storytelling like a duck to water. Together they make a perfect team. Please welcome Jocelyn Allen and Molly McCarthy sharing a charming folktale from the Ukraine.
Hi, my name is Molly McCarthy.
And my name is Jocelyn Allen.
And the story we'll be telling for you is The Fussy Mouse, a story from Ukraine.
There was once a fussy mouse. She was very hard to please. Everything had to be just perfect to make her happy.
One day she found a bright red bow, tied around her neck, and said, "Now, I must find the perfect husband."
Donkey passed by and asked, Miss Mouse, will you marry me?
Me marry you? That will never do. You're much too smelly. I must find the perfect husband.
Bear passed by and asked, Miss Mouse, will you marry me?
Me marry you? That will never do. You're much too hairy. I must find the perfect husband.
Frog passed by and asked, Miss Mouse, will you marry me?
Me marry you? That will never do. You're much too green. I must find the perfect husband.
Cat had been watching. He cleaned himself up and put on his finest suit. Early the next morning, he started over to Mouse's house and asked, Miss Mouse, will you marry me?
Me marry you? But of course, yes. You are the perfect husband.
They were married that very morning.
When it was time for lunch, the fussy mouse asked, how about some vegetable soup?
I'm not in the mood for vegetable soup.
What are you in the mood for? I'll make your favorite dish.
There's no need to go to any trouble, dear. I'm not fussy at all. Cat smacked his lips as he moved closer to her. You see, I'm in the mood for
you. And with that, he pounced onto the mouse. Into his belly she went, bow and all. And that was the end of the fussy mouse. The moral of the story is, it takes time to learn someone's true nature.
What a great way to end the festival, ladies. Thank you. Now, storytellers, you are all so marvelous. I would like you to stand up and take another bow. Let's give them a round of applause. We have a small little ceremony here for the students. Each one of them is going to receive an applause award. Some of them received it last year, so we have another one for this year. Applause stands for audience, make eye contact, pacing, not too fast, not too slow, just right. Pronunciation, say your words clearly. L, love your story. A, avoid distractions. U, use the right tone of voice for your characters. S for smile, and E for expression. And I think you'll all agree they all deserve an applause award tonight. Thank you. So first up, Ava Richmond. Please come get your applause award. Thank you. They're all I told her to stand there and get so the parents could get a picture. I wanted to mention too, they're also receiving a book, My Gift to Them, by Joe Bruchac. Joe Bruchac is an amazing professional storyteller of the highest level, and he's also a Native American, and this is just one of his many, many books. Andrea and I both know him. He's a wonderful man. So next, Claire, Lucy, please come up and get your award. And I was told I should just call him Reese, but I've got his award says, Monsieur Reese Bethany. Come on up. Anil Barnick. Brooklyn DeShane. Braden Burrell. Xavier Estrada. Alex Goldsmith. Zachariah Menendez. Oh, thank you, Alex. Yes, his moment. It's his moment. Colton Smith. Looking very dapper, I must say. Cameron Poirier. Look, number 2, look at that. Our little powerhouse, Ronan Ramsey. She is a book reader. She always has a book in her hand. She's so excited to get the book. Jackson Silveria. I'd love to see young men all dressed up in ties. There you go. Marissa Kelly. Rachel Fernandez. Samantha Lambert. Jocelyn M. And last but certainly not least, Molly McCarthy. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh my goodness, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's all right if you don't want to hug. That's okay. I don't mind. Oh, my heart is very, very full. Every year I say I can't love this anymore, and every year I do. Thank you so much. Now, parents, if you would like, I'm going to remove the microphones, so if you want to take a picture of your child in front of the backdrop, please feel free. I'm going to do that right now. Thank you all for sharing your children with me. It's been a blessing in my life. Thank you.